And if you're like me and you're Mustang curious, let's say, because you grew up a Corvette guy, this thing doesn't disappoint. We have to turn on the performance exhaust.
Do we?
Yep.
That's loud.
That was very necessary.
Or was it? When you were picking Hallie up from school, she said some of the kids were like taking pictures of the car. You gonna get back there?
No, I will not get in the back seat because
it's not really
that would be a crime
humans.
against humanity.
Yeah.
So we're back with another Mustang, but obviously this is a special Mustang. This is the Ford Mustang Dark Horse. And as is usual for our channel, we're going to talk about what would this thing be like as a daily driver, like living with it as an enthusiast dad and going about my daily life. And there's definitely some pros and some cons to living with the Dark Horse. I'm sure you can imagine what the pros are. Let's point out a couple of the cons in case you're thinking about buying this as your only car. Okay, so obviously we gotta talk about the way that the Dark Horse looks. I mean, it's Maximum Mustang, looks pretty great. This one has the performance pack, so you have the front splitter and you've got the rear spoiler, and those are options. You have the 19-inch wheels wrapped in Pirelli Trofeo tires, a little bit excessive. We'll talk more about that in a second. But as far as a Mustang goes, like, this is like one of the best looking Mustangs. I'm not 100% sold on the black sort of front fascia graphics, but because this is, I think it's called like ember blue or something, this kind of like iridescent navy blue color.
It's like different colors depending
on
what
in the
angle
light,
you're
it's
at.
kind of cool. It's like different colors. You don't notice the black accents as much. So I think this color, I normally prefer bright colors on sports cars, but I actually think that this color looks pretty fantastic. I love the rear spoiler. It is functional. It's got a gurney flap. It's adjustable. And the front splitter makes it look super aggressive. Just be careful. I've been very aware of that and parked like way too far away from parking spaces just because that front splitter sticks out. But I think in terms of like Mustangs, this thing is pretty great looking. What about you? What do you think of the Dark Horse?
You didn't even let me like get ready. You just started.
Okay. I was just gonna get in your face.
Okay.
What do you think of the Dark Horse?
I mean, it's not really. I'm not the demographic. I'm not the person that they're looking for to buy this car for sure. I think the outside of it looks pretty cool. I do think the outside looks cool. I like the dark. I know you said you don't love the. I think it's cool that it's like the Dark Horse and it has all the like black accents and
it has the unique badge
it's cool.
too.
Yeah. Like
the front facing horse.
Oh, the black.
No, not that one on the side.
Where? Oh, yeah. It looks like tough. Like I do think that's cool.
It's the first time the horse
that.
has ever been facing forward.
And when you were picking Hallie up from school, she said some of the kids were like taking pictures of the car.
Yes.
And then when she went to get in it, they were like, okay, Hallie, okay.
Yeah.
So
she was a big hit.
Yeah, so even kids, like, it's a cool looking car. Like, it definitely looks cool. I think the Dark Horse thing is pretty cool. I don't love the inside of it. It's a sports car. There's nothing, I want like a luxury.
Well, we can get to that later.
Car.
Why are you doing inside?
So that's not my
favorite.
Outside? It just needed to come out. It needed to come out. But I think the outside's pretty cool. Like for a sports car, I like it. And the wheels are huge.
What about
and
the
fat.
trunk space?
The trunk. I haven't seen the trunk. You want to go look?
Well, yeah, that's your thing.
I know, but I mean, I haven't checked it out. All right. First of all, it doesn't open by itself. Ugh, it's kind of heavy for a little guy.
Well, it's got a big spoiler on it.
So I mean, that's actually more space than I thought I was gonna see.
Yeah.
Like I won't because it's kind of an awkward angle, but like I could crawl in there. Like I could fit in there, you know, like I usually do. But I mean, that's pretty. That's impressive.
You can use it as a daily driver.
Yeah, but why I feel like they should have taken some of that space and put it in the back seat.
That's not the. It's not the pony car way.
Yeah. Okay. We could definitely fit a few suitcases. The groceries obviously would fit perfectly fine back here. I mean, there's tons of space, so that's a plus that I wasn't expecting.
I'm only showing this to show that 2 full-size things of litter and your groceries can actually fit in the back of the Dark Horse. That's kind of impressive. All right, the heart of the Dark Horse is a 5-liter Coyote V8 engine, and it's not a whole lot different than the regular Mustang GT engine. This one's making 500 horsepower, nice even 500 horsepower, and 418 pound-feet of torque, whereas the regular Mustang GT makes like 486. So you're not getting a massive horsepower boost. I personally don't feel as though the Dark Horse feels a whole lot faster, but this one has the 10-speed automatic transmission instead of the Tremec 6-speed, okay? So the regular one, I believe, has a Getrag 6-speed manual. This one has the Tremec 6-speed, which allegedly is supposed to feel and operate even better than the GT 6-speed, but I wouldn't know because Ford decides to put a 10-speed automatic in their press car that's fully spec'd out for track duty. Why? I don't know. I have no idea, but it has one. Now, because this one has the performance pack, that means it also has the magnetic dampers, the front splitter and the rear spoiler. It also has adjustable shock mounts, and it gets the giant, terrible sounding engine, the giant Brembo brakes, which haul this thing down. They have performance linings, performance pads in the Dark Horse, and that means they're a little bit grabby. I'm not gonna lie, in sort of everyday driving, they're a little bit grabby, but this thing is spec'd for maximum attack. This Dark Horse, as you see it here, has all the performance options that you can get into 10-speed automatic. So let me start by saying, if you hear an incessant squeaking sound coming from my seat here, it's because right where the seat belt crosses the Recaro bucket seats, it never stops squeaking. And part of that...
Oh, I can hear it.
I know, right? I can move around and
yeah,
it never stops squeaking. And it's because the little seat belt clips that are supposed to hold the seat belts don't on either side. I tried putting them back in and they don't.
Oh yeah.
But whatever, let's abolish that and talk about the way this thing drives normally, like if you're going to use it as a daily driver, which is the point of this whole channel. Can an enthusiast dad go about his daily life driving something as cool as the Dark Horse? And the answer is yes, but maybe not this one, because this Dark Horse is for max attack performance duty, and we've probably already talked a little bit about that in the engine portion, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more in a second because we'll go down the handling road and kind of get after it a little bit. But in daily life, aside from the squeaky seat, this is like any other Mustang to drive.
Okay, but can I just interject here?
Okay, what are you interjecting?
If you're a dad, where are your children going?
Well, luckily...
Or are you a dad who never drives his children around?
Yeah, I'm a deadbeat, still married dad.
Okay.
Of course, if you drive a Mustang, you might be a deadbeat dad. Oh, Mustang jokes. But I am assuming, as part of this channel, that we are in our mid-40s and we have a child who can drive and a child who's about to drive.
So then you might want to clarify
yes,
that this would work for a dad without driving.
Right. If you have younger children, let's go ahead and say that you're probably not in the market for a Mustang. And if you want what I think is the best enthusiast daily driver for a dad with responsibilities, you should go check out my Acura Integra Type S video, because that is an absolutely fantastic daily driving enthusiast dad car that can cover all of your needs. The Mustang is definitely for, let's say, midlife crisis dad. The dad who actually has a Corvette in the garage, midlife crisis, but who has kids that are on their way out of the house and wants something fun, but still has responsibilities. Like, what did you just send me to do? You just sent me to the grocery store. And here is, well, I may have already shown it, but a quick shot of all of the groceries in the trunk of the Mustang, including full-size cat litter. Very impressive. But anyway, driving around, this has the magnetic dampers. It's pretty comfortable. Like, it's not bad. I drove it to an event south of Atlanta. Another automaker was having an event down there, and I drove this. It was about 2 hours. I was perfectly comfortable. It's not bad at all. Now, one thing I'm not comfortable, this is a me problem, I will fully admit it. These Recaro seats, these are the racing seats, and they are very supportive, but they do not play with my scoliosis. Like, I've got a messed up back, and after 2 hours in this thing, I was regretting all the choices. So if you are 6.5 feet tall, like I am, driving position is great, and I've got plenty of space in here, but I cannot really adjust the non-existent lumbar in these racing seats, so you're gonna pay the price for that. But one thing that sticks out to me, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the performance driving. This one, for some unknown reason, is the Dark Horse with the performance pack and all the performance goodies, but it also has the 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, if you are unable to drive a manual transmission or unwilling to drive a manual transmission, first of all, I don't think you probably are interested in getting all the performance goodies. That seems a bit excessive if you can't drive a stick. Secondly, the 10-speed, if you're just driving around, it won't bother you all that much, but like, there are times when I would try to kind of get up and go in this thing, and the 10-speed, if you're just going in a straight line, yeah, we're on
these camera shots are not going to be great.
Well, sorry. It's okay. But this road actually demonstrates that the Mustang is pretty comfortable in its softest setting. It's not bad at all.
You're bouncing all over
to drive in. Well, this is not a great road, so let's just chalk this up to the magnetic dampers being great. But in performance driving, the 10-speed automatic isn't good enough. Day to day, it's totally fine. And like I said, day to day, this is just a regular Mustang. Now, I actually want to point this out. That is my other complaint. And you didn't know what just happened, but the front tires are the Pirelli Trofeo Rs, which are extremely sticky tires, and they are 305 width, which are extremely wide tires. This thing will follow imperfections in the road. So you need to have...
Why you
exactly, that's why I was kind of like going side to side.
Well, this feels very... Like, we've driven on this road a billion times.
Well...
And I don't feel like I'm normally this...
Well, this is the raciest Mustang. So, I mean, it's definitely not trying to be, a luxury sedan.
It's not a luxury sedan.
But those Pirellis on the highway, Atlanta is constantly under construction, like always. Like, it's always under construction. And on the highway, those things will follow like divots and ruts and cracks in the highway. You need to have both hands on the wheel, okay? Because there were multiple times when this thing was just like, and I'm going right, because it's just following those lines because it has these massive sticky tires, which is great if you're on the track. In day to day, here's the thing, and we'll talk about this more in the summary. This is a tolerable daily driver. However, if you really want to use a Dark Horse the way I would use it, which is maximum Mustang that you could use every day, the Dark Horse is still a viable option, but I'd probably spec it a bit differently. How about that? Now let's take a look and see what this thing is like in its more natural habitat. All right, so of course, Mustang Dark Horse. Gotta go down the handling road here.
Can't wait.
Give it a quick blast. I'm in sport mode because track mode turns off the stability control. We don't want to do that. Not on a public road. So let's give it a little go. Now on these Pirelli Trofeo tires, this thing is incredibly planted. The 10-speed, you can see it's holding gears there, but it didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in that moment. But I'll tell you right now, of all the cars we've taken down this road, the amount of grip that this thing has and the speed that it can build, and also the body control, this is very smooth.
I was gonna say, I'm not jerking around at all.
Yeah, no, this is like, this is probably the most capable car we've taken down that handling road. I would say, something like the Toyota Supra or something like that is kind of a high watermark, but the thing that I think sets the Dark Horse apart with its performance envelope, like what it's capable of doing, is that its sort of maximum capabilities are so high. And let's be honest, on a public road, we're back in civilization where we always slow it down. It just doesn't really challenge it. It doesn't really challenge it at all. So we'll kind of go back down the road in the other direction, and you can kind of get a sense that direction. When we go back down the road the other way, that's the way that it's bumpier.
The other way?
Yeah, going.
Yeah, well, you'll be able to tell from my footage that I really wasn't even moving around.
Yeah, going in this direction, when we go back down the handling road, is where you get more of the bumps that upset the chassis. So when you head this way, you can really kind of tell how planted a car is because you've got a lot of like off-camber bumps where like one side of the car is getting upset by like a crack in the pavement from like, you know, like a tree root or something like that. And the other side is on normal asphalt. So we'll take a look at how it handles going back in this direction. I think the steering is better in the Dark Horse because of those 305 with front tires, 315 in the rear. Now's the time.
Whoa.
That's full throttle. And that Coyote is powerful. Here we come down the little bridge section.
Whoa.
That is really good. Like really good the way it absorbed that, because that is a harsh impact. There's one more, I believe, up here. The steering's definitely better on this than the Mustang GT.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the Dark Horse maintains contact with the road in a way that I don't think any other car we've had on that road has done. I mean, no, we haven't had too many cars on it, nothing crazy like a Corvette Z06 or something, but that engine. So the only other thing, and I have to talk about it because this has the 10-speed automatic, is, okay, how does the automatic behave when you're in sort of performance mode? It's not the best. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put it into manual mode and use the paddles here and show you, hopefully, the responsiveness if I use the paddles to shift. It's just a little bit of a delay there, like when you pull the paddle. Also the other day I was doing a pull in first gear and it got up to the red line and I was trying to shift it and it wouldn't shift. And if I summon a downshift, see that? I also really would like some shift lights or something here across the top of the dash. I don't know if that's a separate thing you can pull up somewhere. I didn't find it, but something that has some level of shift lights so that,
so you like know where you're.
Yeah, so you know exactly when to shift so you're not hitting that red line, because when you're tall you can't see the tack very good in track mode, which is annoying. Let's try. Before it shuts off. I wonder if I swapped the memory cards by accident. Glad it tells you. Alright. Okay, so we're in first gear. We'll do a pull using nothing but shift paddles. See?
Oh, jeez.
That is dumb. That is dumb. Like, it didn't shift fast enough. It hit red line.
Ah!
And then it cuts power and hits the rev limiter. Like, that is exactly what I was trying to like show you. As you come up the tack, yeah, the 10-speed is just not, it's just not like fast enough. There's things about it that are just not quite dialed in. If you were on a track and you were trying to come up to red line, you know, at that, and make it to that shift point, like at the maximum like power, because the Coyote winds up. It's like a high RPM, like kind of power making engine. It's not like an LS, you know, you want to wind it out to make power, and to have it like be sort of unsure of itself like that because you don't get the shift off, or the transmission doesn't get the shift off fast enough. I really don't think, for if you have any intention of using this on a track, that the 10-speed automatic is going to be satisfying. I think you have to go with the manual transmission. And I know some of you guys are like, duh, it's Dark Horse. Yeah, but you know, not everybody thinks that way, and not as many people can drive manuals as they used to. I bet you could drive a manual better than a lot of people these days.
Facts.
The fact that you even know how a manual works puts you ahead of most people. So there's that.
Okay, so I'm in the interior of the Mustang Dark Horse. I mean, it's just like very sporty. Like, this is not my jam, but the seat's pretty comfortable. It's pretty cushy. It like really like, it's like, it like holds you in, like big old bolsters and stuff. The leather is nice. The squeakies thing is annoying. The steering wheel is nice enough. I mean, I haven't driven it, but the It's got the little middle spoke that I don't love, but you can still fit your hand in here. But it's very, like, very sports car-ish. So this is not like a luxury looking sports car by any means. I think it looks like a sports car.
What's the only the only sports car that you like?
What was it, that Acura?
No, the Jaguar.
Oh, the Jaguar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want a sports car that looks like a luxury vehicle.
That looks like it costs $100,000.
Yes. And this car's pretty expensive, but I mean, and it feels like you can tell it's a nice car. It's got the giant screen, it's got charging pad, it's got like cool little touches. The materials are great. These seats feel great, and it's got like the suede and stuff over here on the doors. All the dark, I think all the dark little accents are pretty cool. But it's just, I don't know. It's a sports car. This is really not my jam.
It's not for you.
It's really not.
It's for me.
It's for you.
Okay, so if you're new to the channel, I always say this because some people find it valuable. I am almost 6'6", so I'm about 6'5.5", and I currently have the seat set to where I would have it. Now, if you watch the driving portion, which you probably already have, hopefully if you made it this far, that would be weird if you didn't. These Recaro seats are not the most comfortable for me because of my, relatively bad back issues. However, you don't have to spec the Recaro seats. It comes with sort of regular Mustang seats, which when I had the GT, go check out that video, I found those to be perfectly comfortable, and you can dial in more lumbar and stuff like that. So I would probably get it in with those seats just because I probably am not going to track my daily driver. I mean, this channel is all about the assumption of like how it fits into your family life, and I don't think I'll be taking my daily driver not regularly to the track, so I'd probably go with the regular seats. But I have plenty of space. I actually really like the Mustang wheel. I said this in the other review. I just think it's great. It's just a great combination of big fat rim, and the flat bottom gives me plenty of space. What I don't love as much, okay, and I feel like this is even more of a problem in the Dark Horse because it has a performance intent, is the fact that you've got these great screens here. I mean, the screens are beautiful, and Ford does a good job with the graphics and stuff like that, but because this happens to be all the time as a tall person, when you have a flat screen and you're trying to look down through the wheel, it just cuts off the whole top part of the screen. So when I'm in track mode, like on the gauge display, the tachometer that goes across the top of the screen is like partially obscured by the wheel, which kind of sucks for a tall guy. So I would run it probably not in track mode, and I just think that's a little irritating because if I'm actually going fast, or if I was going to a track or autocross, I'd want to have the gauge cluster in track mode, and it doesn't really work so great for me. Other than that, the materials are fine. I mean, this is like, a $77,000 Mustang, and I know you're paying a lot for the performance parts, and that's fine. I get it. But it also is, like a lot of hard plastic.
But the seat material's nice. And
oh yeah, no, I mean the seat material feels great. Screens are beautiful. But it's still a Mustang interior. The GT that I just had was not really any different than that, or than this car, and it was $15,000-$20,000 cheaper. So
What about the back seat? You gonna get back there?
No, I will not get in the back seat because
it's not really
that would be a
humans.
crime against humanity.
Yeah, it's not really meant for humans.
But yeah, it's just the typical Mustang Camaro Charger.
I just don't get why
thing.
they even have it. Seems silly.
They always have. I mean, literally
cannot. I mean, you could sit sideways, I guess.
I think technically, I don't know how true this is. Insurance people, help me out. Your insurance is actually slightly lower because it's not a sports car. It's a coupe. Because it has a back seat
that nobody can fit in.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know how true that is. But I mean, Porsche, Aston Martin, these brands all do it too. So, why not Mustang? So should you buy the 2024 Ford Mustang Dark Horse? Well, yes and no. If you're like me, I really enjoy this car. I like the Mustang GT when I had it. I like this one even more. I prefer the coupe. The GT was a convertible. That's not my thing. I prefer the coupe. But would I buy it necessarily with all of the performance kind of add-ons and the Recaro seats? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably get it kind of like halfway in between. You can spec the magnetic dampers separately, and you can spec the seats separately and some stuff like that. I probably would also skip the Trofeo Rs just because they're just gigantic and really sticky. And like I said, in the drive portion, they tend to sort of tram line a bit and follow the grooves in the road. They're not uncomfortable, but I think that they probably are a tiny bit unnecessary for what most people are going to do. Now, if you want to go maximum attack on this, it's not necessarily going to be your daily everyday driver. Yeah, knock yourself out, get the 6-speed manual and go nuts. As for me, I really enjoy this car a lot. I think for where we are in our sort of middle-age, kids are starting to drive and leave the nest kind of phase. Yeah, you know, kid going to college, another one in high school. I think we could make something like this work from a practical standpoint.
That's not true.
It is totally true. It's absolutely true. We could make something like this work. I'd probably get the 6-speed manual, tone it down a little bit on the seats, and I think you'd have a very livable and fun Ford Mustang Dark Horse. But this has been a blast to drive and live with. My complaints are minor. If you're a Mustang fan, you'll absolutely love this thing. And if you're like me and you're Mustang curious, let's say, because you grew up a Corvette guy, this thing doesn't disappoint. It's a blast. So take that with a grain of salt. Take it for what it's worth. Take it for something. I don't really know. That didn't really make sense. But
No, not at all.
take it for something.
That's okay.
And we'll let the person who doesn't know anything about Mustangs take us out on this one.
Sounds good.
Okay, so for the Megan moment, I feel
You don't have a lot to say.
I feel very unprepared,
Underprepared.
I'm not the guy.
The car likes to lock itself.
Yeah, I thought you
if
went to
walk
like
away.
I'm really not the guy to talk to about this car, but the outside I think looks great. So exterior wise, I'll give it like a 10 out of 10. Like it looks cool.
Okay.
It looks like a sports car. I love the dark stuff. I think the horse little thing is cool.
Digging that performance Mustang.
Yeah, like I think it looks cool. Like it looks like a sports car. It looks like it's supposed to look. Interior, like materials and everything, I don't know, like an 8, a 7 maybe. It's just
7,
not my
It's a lot of money.
thing. Yeah, like it looks nice, but it's a lot of money and interior space. Like the front and the passenger, you have plenty of space. The
Right.
back seat is there, but like literally there's nobody that's
It's
gonna
a
fit there.
parcel shelf.
And it even has, it's like you could put child seats in there. It's got the little child leather.
Yeah, it
child,
has the child latches.
yeah. I saw them in there, but I'm like, but literally you could never.
No.
I mean, I guess in case of emergency, you could stick a child seat back there.
It would definitely be an emergency.
But children with are not going to be comfortable. Like even an
Nope.
infant would be tight squeeze. The cargo space actually better than I would have guessed. Driving wise, I can't say I didn't drive it. I rode in it. It's very bouncy and it's like a
Fast.
sports car. Yeah, it's not my fave. And it's very expensive. $77,000. You could get a car with a lot more space, is what I'm saying. So would I buy this? No. If he wanted to buy this, would I be okay? Probably not. It's not.
Probably not. Hey, wait a second.
Yeah, probably. It has literally very little functionality for a family of any kind. We
But
do have times where the 4 of us are in a car together.
It's functionally
and this
fast.
is not going to take the 4 of us anywhere. That's for sure.
Maybe that's what I like.
I mean, I feel like the trunk has more space in the back seat.
That's probably
You'd
true.
literally be better off traveling in the trunk than in the back seat. So I'm gonna go overall like, I don't know, like a 6.
Wow.
It's just not my jam. It's not my jam. But don't listen to me. Listen to him. He's the one that would actually be driving it. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and hopefully next time it'll be a car I can actually talk about.
Nah. Bore you.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm boring you out here.
go.
You don't tell me when to go.
Yes, I do.
I go when I want to go.
Go.
Hear that?
Oh
Crappy
my
engine.
gosh, go.
It's not as good as this. Hold on, I got something in my eye.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Hold
I
on.
literally don't understand any of the words that are coming out of your mouth.
There's something biting me.
It's like you're speaking a different language.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I remember.
Go. Oh my gosh, go.